ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So today we begin with the 18th verse, and it is giving pointers to the ultimate reality. Now, pointers, of course, we have to know that pointers are different and the pointed is different. So we must realize that when they say that this is not describable, aprameyasya, so that means, now see, I'll read the verse first. So अन्तवन्त इमे देहा नित्यस्योक्तः शरीरिणः अनाशिनो अप्रमेयस्य तस्मात् युध्यस्व भारत. Antavant ime deha. Antavant means it is liable to be destroyed. There is an end to it. Ant means end. So Antavant ime deha, that means it is with an end. Here it says, see, they have an end, it is said, these bodies. Now, any body. When he says these bodies, it's a plural. So all the bodies have an end because they have a beginning. And anything that begins has to end. So they have an end, it is said, these bodies. Now, why does he say it is said? Notice that Krishna doesn't say affirmatively or decisively that this is so. He is quoting other people. So when you want to establish something as a truth, you generally quote specialists. है ना? You say, अभी वो उनके 3 magical words in the West are that research has shown. The moment they say research has shown, you swallow it. Whatever they say, we accept it. We never question which research, what research, who has done it, on whom they have done it. We don't ask for the data. We don't ask for anything else. We just understand that haan, this is the truth. So here when he says it is said, Krishna is not taking on the responsibility of saying that I am speaking or I am saying. It is said means time immemorial, this truth has been said, that these bodies of the embodied self are antavanta. Embodied self. Embodied means the self takes on a body. The self is eternal, indestructible, incomprehensible. Now these 3, ये हाँ, ये देखो बताए हैं eternal. Eternal, of course, we have done timeless, beginningless, endless, and that is called eternal. So he says the self is eternal, indestructible. Naturally, anything that is eternal has to be indestructible, right? It cannot anyway be destroyed, at any time be destroyed. Only then can you call it eternal, right? So it is a similar word. Then incomprehensible. Now then, why is all this description given about the self if it is incomprehensible? At the same time, he is describing it. And upadhi de rahe hain, and at the same time he is saying that it is incomprehensible. Incomprehensible here means that it is incomprehensible to the senses. See, our only instrument of knowledge is our sense organs. How does it touch? What does it look like? How does it taste? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? So all these determine all scientific knowledge. Any scientific knowledge is gained by these 5 senses. When he says it is incomprehensible, he means to say that that great grand reality which empowers the senses cannot turn inwards to look at it. The senses are all outward looking. See, your eyes, nose, mouth, ears, they're all placed outside and they direct themselves to the outer world. So, outside knowledge they can gain, but they don't turn inwards. See, an example one can give is a torch. The torch can see everything outside wherever you point it, but the torch cannot turn on its own battery. If it wants to see its battery, it doesn't have the power to do that. It doesn't have the technology to look at its own battery, right? The same way. It is the same way. And that's why he says that it cannot. Now, when he says it is eternal, indestructible, we have seen before also. That is that nothing can destroy it because it is too subtle for destruction. I'll give you an example, like a balloon. Okay. Now, the balloon is gross. You can touch it, feel it, see it. But the air inside it or the space inside it is subtle and you cannot see it. So, the balloon can be destroyed, right? You kick it, stamp on it, and it will burst. So, the balloon is destroyed. But the space inside the balloon, no matter how hard you kick it, so you stamp on it, you try to use a sword or a pistol or anything, you cannot destroy that space, right? So that anything that is subtle cannot be destroyed. Even air and space is that subtle that you are not able to destroy it. So what are you talking of that ultimate self? That self is so subtle that it is too subtle for comprehension of the senses. Now, okay, come here. What he says over here, this is important. He says, therefore fight, O Bharata. This line I forgot to say. See, the Gita is not otherworldly. It talks of the highest philosophy, yes, it does, but it relates that highest philosophy to our everyday life. In our everyday life, we have to take on challenges. The Gita over here is about a family feud. Don't we all face family feuds? Hmm? There are fights, brothers fight, brother and sister fights, there are fights between father and son, there are fights between. So, all those fights do take place. And of course, if there is inheritance, then even the larger family comes in and there are fights in the larger family. So the Gita is placed in such a situation where there is a family fight. It is a fight in the family. So it is not otherworldly, it is very much of this world. We face it every day. Now, in that, Arjun is panicking and trying to run away. So, we come to the ultimate question of Arjun over here. We come back to the question of Arjun here, that I do not want to fight. Do you think I should fight? I should not fight. It'll be a sin. So, he's addressing that question now, and he says that the self is indestructible. So, in case you think that you are going to kill, you cannot kill, you can only destroy the body, and the body in any case will be destroyed. Whether you destroy it or you don't destroy it, the body will get destroyed ultimately. But he here says that, you see, this is a fratricidal war, and a fratricidal war almost becomes leprous. Any war is bad, of any sort it is bad, but when it is between brother and brother, when it is between father and son, it becomes extremely heinous. So here he's saying, but he says you cannot run away. Running away is cowardice. And that is why the Gita says, look, he is giving him a very clear instruction. He says, therefore, fight, O Bharata. You cannot run away from your duty, and you have to stand up for your right. You have to stand up for righteousness, and you have to fight the wrong. So, an active resistance to evil is the creed of the Gita. It does not allow you to run away from your situations in life. Now, when you say ever changeless and eternal is the same, as I told you, they are different words meaning the same thing. Now, change being the insignia of the finite, as Gurudev says, this self, this pure self is beyond change. It is beyond all change and it does not die. The body only is indestructible. This cannot be destroyed. Okay, now he uses two words. He uses Nitya and Anashena. Let me go to the verse. He says Nitya, and he in the second line he says Anashena. So these are two categories of destruction. One is total destruction. So when you say Nitya, Nitya means eternal, right? And indestructible can be partial also. No? You can say, okay, part of it can be destroyed, part of it is indestructible. So he covers both these and he says it can neither be destroyed in part nor can it be destroyed whole. It is just totally, it is not possible. Destruction is not possible. Now, we have done this that you cannot in any way find it out because you cannot see it, you cannot feel it, you cannot touch it. It is beyond the senses. In any given field, it is Swata Siddha. Swata Siddha means it is there by itself. It is not dependent on anything. The existence of the self is pure existence. It, like the body is dependent on that existence, that is not dependent on anything. Now he says, therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. He uses that word Bharata, fight. The context is very important in this fight. See, everybody says that Hinduism believes in so much of ahimsa, Hinduism is a religion of peace, Hinduism is a religion of tolerance. And so, how can it advocate fighting? How does it? It is not advocating a bloodthirstiness. It is not advocating that you just go out and kill nonsensically. No such thing. You have to see this line with the context of the Mahabharata. That is why I gave you a long context of the first chapter. That what was the first chapter about? And unless you know about the first chapter, you cannot appreciate this line. So understand that when people are out to kill you, when there are people out to harm you, you don't just submit in a non-violent manner. I am a non-violent person. You can kill me. You can loot my house. You can carry away my women. You can do what you like, but I will not fight. That is not right. That is a dangerous philosophy. It is suicidal. So here he says that there is an army standing in front of you and they are there for an unrighteous cause. They have usurped all your property. They have taken away your kingdom. They have insulted you. They have humiliated your wife. And here now they are standing to kill you. Now, in such a situation, how can any philosophy worth its salt advocate nonviolence? And I told you that non-violence in Hinduism is non-aggression. It is not non-defensive. Here, very clearly, you can see in the Gita, he says, get up and fight. Stop behaving like a coward. Get up and protect your rights. Okay? Now, so here, this we have done. And now let us come to the next verse. When next verse, see, before that, he says that it is, I'll just read from the book, it is only a false notion of yours, says the Lord, that you think thus. Bhishma and others will be killed by me in the battle. I will be their slayer. How? Because Krishna here is not the cowherd boy. When Krishna uses I in the Gita, now as we are going on in the Gita, always remember that when Krishna uses I, He is using that I for the ultimate reality, the ultimate self. He is an avatar. That ultimate reality has manifested as Krishna. So he is not here individualized Krishna, as you know, the blue boy of Vrindavan, or the cowherd, or the shepherd, or the brother-in-law of Arjuna. That is not what he. When he says, "I will be their slayer," that is the ultimate power. When he detaches from the physical equipments, the person will die. Absolutely. So here he says, next verse, 19th. य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतः नायं हन्ति न हन्यते. Nayam hanti na hanyate. That means he slays not, nor is he slain. In the line above, he has said that I will be their slayer, and here he is contradicting, saying he slays not, nor is he slain. Now, who is this? He says, he who takes the self to be the slayer, and he who thinks that he is slain. Now, these are two different things. One feels that he is the slayer, the other feels that he is slain. He says that neither one knows the truth. Neither of these knows. He slays not, nor is he slain. The actual self he is talking about. The actual self can neither slay nor be slain. He empowers you to slay. Like he uses the body of the person as a means to slay, but he himself does not. Like, I'll give you an example. You cannot blame him. I'll give you an example. Petrol in a car. When you say that the petrol moves the car, every movement of the car is because of the petrol. That is right. Okay. But when you hit an accident, can you blame the petrol? Yes, it is true that the accident is caused because of the petrol in the car. Yes, right? Because the petrol empowers the car. But the accident has not been hit by the petrol. Nor can you give credit to the petrol for reaching you to your destination. Hitting an accident or reaching your correct destination is what you do yourself, the individualized ego. You act according to your intellect, and that is what you do. If your intellect is fuddled, you have hit the accident, of course with the help of the petrol, but petrol cannot be blamed for it, right? Another example I'll give you is of electricity. Electricity moves the fan, moves the bulb, but when the bulb is fused, you can't blame the electricity. That is the fault of the equipment. That is the fault of the bulb. The electricity is still there. It is still there to empower. So the electricity is neither empowering, it is not giving you light, the bulb is giving you light. Electricity is just the power. There is no individuality to electricity. So if electricity starts saying that I am movement in the fan and I am the light in the bulb, it is wrong in the sense that electricity is just the power that lends movement. By its very presence, it is not doing anything. Got it? Electricity doesn't do. There is no individuality. So when you say that it does not slay, it means that it does not have the individuality. It is Krishna is not saying it with individuality, ego that I slay. He lends the power. Another example, magnet. The magnet is kept in one place. Now, when the magnet, because of the presence of the magnet, the iron pieces are drawn to it. When you move the magnet, the iron pieces move. The magnet is doing nothing. It is the mere presence of the magnet, the power of the magnet, that is making the iron pieces dance. Similarly, he says that I neither slay nor get slain. So, the ultimate power, who can slay him? So, even if Bhishma dies, even if Drona dies, it is, and Arjun has aligned himself with the pure self, not the individual Arjun, then he neither slays nor gets slain, right? So, this is here. Um, Wait a minute, what does it say? Let me go to the. It says he who takes the self to be the slayer and he who thinks he is slain, neither of these knows. Because you see, if you know the ultimate reality, you will understand that there is no individuality in it. When there is no individuality, there can be no doership. The sun does not nourish anything. By its very presence, things get nourished. So you cannot attribute a motive to the sun. The sun by its presence is light. By its presence gives nourishment to the plants. By its presence, you can say that because of the sun the plants are nourished, yes. But the sun is not doing anything. It has no intention of doing anything. It has no motive of doing anything. That is what the self is about. And now you see this. This is actually ये जो है ना, it says Nayam Hanti na Hanyate. This is actually a direct lifting from the Kathopanishad. This mantra is there in the Kathopanishad, but you cannot call it plagiarism. There was no such concept at that time at all. He is almost quoting from there that this is what I have heard, this is what has come down through the ages. So this mantra in the Upanishad is only he is using it to popularize the truth. He is using it to explain the truth to you, that it is neither it neither can slay nor it gets slain. So now let's come to the 20th one. This is a very famous verse, and this also is directly from the Kathopanishad. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Again, see what he says. He is not born, nor does he ever die. After having been, he again ceases not to be, unborn, eternal, changeless, and ancient. He is not killed when the body is killed. We have done this before, that the wave dies. The wave is a name and it is a form. But the ocean does not die. The bubble bursts. It is a shape, it is a name. But born of the ocean, it goes back into the ocean. So the ocean does not burst. The ocean is still there. Similarly, all these creatures, he says that they rise from, like say take the example of the ocean, they rise from the water, they go back to the water. All forms, the big wave, the very rich man, the very powerful man, the very knowledgeable man, you can call them big waves, making sound, fury. But after that, what happens? They all go back into the water alone. So does the small wave. So does the big wave. So he says, what are you mourning about? Remember that verse? Gatasoon gatasoonscha nanushocanti panditaha. It means those that have gone and those that have not yet gone, the wise do not mourn for them, because you know that nobody has gone anywhere or come from anywhere. The five elements of which the body is constituted, that is your food. I had told you in one of my previous talks that the body is nothing else but a component of food. The breakfast you had in the morning, what has it become now? It is you. What a miracle. That whole breakfast is now just you. So, what are you? Food. And when you throw it out, that also becomes food for somebody. When the body dies, okay, born of food, sustained by food, and dies to become food for others. Gurudev used to say it becomes lunch and dinner for the worms. And that is true. So that is just a component of food. So you are not talking about that. Here you are talking about that which empowers this bundle of food, which makes this bundle of food move, digest its food, all kind of movements that are happening in your body, your heartbeat, your pulse beat, your speech, your digestion, your blood flow, that is all happening not because of the body does not have the power to do it. It is all happening, you don't have the power to do it. You cannot do any movement of your body. That is happening on its own by his grace. So na jayate mriyate va kadachin, he says. Kadachin, at any time. Not at any time is that born, nor does it die. See, na jayate born, na jayate mriyate martane. So na jayate mriyate va kadachin, and not at any time. Bhutva bhavita vana bhuya. Again, all the three periods of time, that it was, it is, and it shall always be. The bodies come and go, but that truth always remains. Now, these are not definitions of the truth. See what he says in the next few lines I'm talking about. Ajo nityah shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. First, let me give you the literal meaning of these words. Now, as I said, these words are pointers. They are not the pointed. So don't consider them as attributes of that reality. That reality is attribute-less. These are being given to you, these words are being given to you so that your thoughts move in that direction. That is all. Ajo means that which is not born. Unborn is ajo, which has no birth. Nitya means eternal, and Shashvatoyam means changeless. Changeless. And Purano is the same Hindi word, Purana. When you say Purana, old, ancient. That is why the ancient scriptures are called Puranas. आपके जो पुराने बहुत पुराने scriptures हैं, they are known as, you must have heard of Garud Puran and Shiv Puran and this Puran, that Puran. They all means old ancient text. That's all. So the word Purana. Now here, this is the literal meaning I gave you. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Now hanyate again is given to you, that it says that it is too subtle. It can neither be killed, nor can it kill. It can neither kill nor can it be killed. When you say indestructible, okay, when you say that it is ajo nitya means eternal. So all these words actually translate into synonyms. Something that is unborn also becomes nitya. Think about it. Also, shashvatoyam, that means beyond time. It becomes changeless. Obviously, it will be changeless if it ever was, ever is, and ever will be. Changeless is the same thing. Huh? So these words are exchangeable. And Purano. Okay, Purano means it is very, very ancient, timeless. In fact, it translates into timeless. That you do not know when it began, how it began, when it began. And also it says na hanyate hanyamane sharire, that it cannot be, it does not kill, and it cannot kill anybody. It cannot kill anybody. Just like I gave you the example of petrol. Okay, I gave you the example of the space in the balloon. You cannot destroy it, and it cannot destroy you. Now, when I say the pointer is different from the pointed, again, all these words are just pointers. To give you an example, this in Vedanta is called Tatastha Lakshana. Tatastha Lakshana is like this. When I say, do you see that crow? You say, no, I don't see it. Okay. Then I point my finger. You say, I still don't see it. So then what do? Then you start giving attributes. You say, do you see Mr. Ramanathan's house? You say, yes. I say, okay, now look at 12 o'clock or at the roof of Mr. Ramanathan's house. You say, yes. Then I say, from the roof, look 2 o'clock at the tree. You say, yes, I seen it. Then I say, when you see the tree, again look 12 o'clock of the tree. You say, yes, I have seen it. Now 12 o'clock of the tree, I say, there is a bird sitting. Now do you see it? And you say, yes. Okay. Now all these things that I pointed to you, Mr. Ramanathan's house, the roof, the tree, the bow, the 12 o'clock. All these are not the attributes of that bird. They all point towards that bird. So they are pointers. And when you take your gaze and your thoughts from the house to the roof to the tree to the bough, you automatically find that. Right? So all these that you see over here are Tatastha Lakshana as they are known. So again, you see the meter has changed here. So this was an oral tradition. In my previous talks, I have said that for those who have newly tuned in, I am saying that the meter changes when the teacher wants the student to sit up and listen. So this is the verse that is describing the ultimate reality. Now you say, okay, if these are all known factors that they are describing, Ajo, Nitya, Shashvata, Purana, but he says it is not this. Because all your Upanishads, they describe the reality as neti, neti. Neti, neti means not this, not this, not this. Now, when you dissect something, you remember when you, in a science lab, when you dissect maybe a frog or what they give you, and you want to find one particular organ of that frog, then you keep removing the other things, right? That is a process of elimination, as they call it. So you keep doing that till you come to what you are looking for, right? So all these, you do not know Ajo, you do not know Nitya, you do not know. So then you say, okay, you don't know these, then keep rejecting them till you come to that which you know. Try to find out the unknown from the known. Keep rejecting the known. Keep rejecting the known. Then you will come to the unknown. Again, to explain this very thing to you. Look, uh, coming to the fact, when you say, you try to find out, then who are you? Are you just the body? Are you just food? Are you just a component or modulation of food? Modification of food? And you say, no, food can't talk. Food can't make you see. Food doesn't see. Food doesn't hear. So what is it that is making all this happen? Okay. So then you say, supposing I ask you, who are you? Okay. I ask you, who are you? And you say, I am, say, okay, Mr. Brown. When you say I am Mr. Brown, I say, I am not asking your name. You have told me your name. Please tell me, who are you? How do you describe yourself? You say, I am the son of, say, Mr. Green. Okay, you are the son of Mr. Green. I am not asking your father's name. I have asked you, who are you? So when I ask you, who are you, you have to give me the exact answer. Then what do you say? You start saying, again, you repeat your name and you say, I live in near Trafalgar Square. Okay, I am rich. I am powerful. My house is a small apartment. My this, my that. He said, all those are things that belong to you. I am not asking that. I am asking you, who are you? You are defining yourself by all these epithets. You are describing yourself by all these are all pointers to you, but they are not you. Then you start giving me your qualifications, your education. You give me your birth, your parents' name, your qualifications, your job you do, where you work. But all those are not you. My direct question is, who are you? Now, all these you reject. And slowly, slowly, you will notice that even the body is not really you. It came from somewhere and it is going to be destroyed somewhere. But that thing that you call you is still not described. Now, this is the whole inquiry, that when you want to find this out, it is very, very subtle. That is why it is called unknowable. Unknowable by these very inquiries, unknowable by these very sense organs. You cannot know the true self because of that. It is only by a very, very equipoised mind and intellect, which is almost non functional. And when you become to an absolute still, in the very rarefied moments of contemplation, you suddenly realize your true self. It is not knowable, it is realizable. You do not need knowledge to know. Like supposing I say, do you know yourself? You say, yes, I know, I am so and so. I say, how do you know? What is the knowledge because of which you know it is you? You are so and so. You say, I just know. I know. Supposing I try to convince you that you are not this, you are that, will you get convinced? No, you will not get convinced. You will say, I know. So that pure knowledge, that pure awareness are you, because of which any knowledge is possible. That is that because of which it is you, right? Now, uh, the body goes through 6 different changes. Okay. Now, those 6 different changes are called Shata Vikara. He is saying that the pure self is beyond these Shatavikara. The Shatavikara listed by Gurudev in your commentary, and those are birth, existence, growth, decay, disease, and death. Okay. Now, these 6 changes are your journey from the womb to the tomb. And all bodies are subject to these Shatavikaras. He is trying to tell you that you are not these Shatavikaras. These Shatavikaras belong only to the body. They do not belong to the ultimate self. So recognize yourself. Understand what you are. Now also understand that So long as you are in the world of illusion, you can never recognize the truth. Just like when you are dreaming, I'm giving you an example. Just like when you are dreaming, that is the reality for you. The dreamer can never recognize the waker. And it is only after you wake up, you do not become someone else, but you realize that you were not the dreamer. True? You immediately realize, in a flash, you realize that you were not the dreamer. You imagined yourself to be the dreamer, but you are in effect the waker. So, how far is the dreamer from the waker? A minute, a second. The moment you wake up, you realize. Nobody tells you. Nobody has to give you that knowledge that you were not that man who was a leprous man in the dream and who was a beggar and asking for food, begging for food. You are not that man. You know it. So you have realized the true self. So it only takes that realization. In today's modern 20th century, you have that great psychologist called Carl Jung, who called this self realization as self actualization. But he meant the same thing. If you read what he has written, read what he says, he does not talk about the body. He is talking about the realization that you are not the body. And he is talking about the realization that dawns on you as your true self. Mandukya Upanishad does the same thing. Mandukya Upanishad takes you through that inquiry as to who is your real self. Who are you? Who is the real self? And slowly, it makes you understand who you are. And it happens in a flash. And the example given in Vedanta is also just same, snake and the rope. The moment you see the rope, the snake is gone. You understand immediately that I felt that there was a snake here, but it is actually a rope. Once you see the rope, you cannot continue to see the tongue of the snake and the tail of the snake, the scales of the snake, and also the flickering tongue or the eyes of the snake. You can't, because you have already seen the rope. So once the realization comes, all these factors, Ajo, Nitya, Shashvata, Purano, this all becomes useless. All this knowledge is just nothing else but pointers. Okay. So since there is no birth, there is no death, and there is no beginning and there is no end. The dying conditions are the conditions that you face in the world around you, in the illusory world. And those conditions will always be there. They will always be there. That which began has to die. Everything that you experience, each and every experience of yours comes under death, comes under the scepter of change. All situations change, relationships change, isn't it? Hmm. So you have these great examples, as I always told you. Somebody or something that you loved so much has started giving you pain now. That same very experience has started giving you pain. So all these keep on changing. So love, hate, everything is conditional and they go on changing. Now the verse insists that it cannot be killed. Huh? Now it amounts to a little bit of repetition that it cannot be killed. But here he is moving from one place to another. There is no repetition in the scriptures. He says, like, see what the end of this verse explanation says: having thus started the proposition that the self is neither an agent nor an object of action. I had given you those examples, remember, of the sun, the petrol, the magnet. They are not agents. That means they do not have doership. They do not have an individualized ego. Okay, they do not have an individualized ego, so they have no doership. And therefore, he says that the self is not subject to transmigration. Transmigration can only happen if you have a shopping list, if you want to do certain things, and the body also has to go through the karma. So if there is no karma left there, if there is no doership, there will be no karma. I will explain this when I am doing the next verse. And here we go. The next verse is verse number 21st, and I will read it to you. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katham sa purusha partha kam ghatayate hantikam. This is very interesting. Look, he is asking a question. Huh? How does he kill? He says, whosoever knows him to be indestructible, eternal, unborn, and inexhaustible, how can that man slay, O Partha, or cause others to be slain? Very interesting. He is talking of two people over here. See, in the second line, he says, Katha sa purusha partha kam ghatayanti hantikam. He says, look at this. He says, how can that man slay? Huh? That is Arjun. That means if you are not the body, then how come you are slaying anybody? If you are the pure self, there is no doership in the pure self, so you do not slay. And he says the second one, he says, O Partha, or cause others to be slain. He is also referring to himself, because people call Krishna a warmonger. So he says that if I am the pure self, I can neither goad anybody to kill anyone. See, he says, how can I cause others to be slain? That means I am not the cause of the war. Neither am I asking you to kill. How can I ask you to kill when there is no individuality? There is no ego sense. And how can you slay? Also, he says. Now, but who knows these? Neither does Arjun doesn't know this. So he is saying, whosoever knows him, him is referring to the pure self over here. He says that whosoever knows him. Now, knows him not intellectually, but he who has awakened to the pure self. That is what he's talking about. And that state, when you are in that state of consciousness, when you have realized the self, such a person who knows himself to be indestructible, eternal, unborn, inexhaustible. So if he is unborn, he is indestructible. How can he get killed or cause anybody to kill? Because there is no individuality. But this verse we will do next time, as this time there is no time. ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।